Hi everyone, my name is Alex. I am an outpatient physical therapist at RHI. You've probably seen me around if you've been to RHI. I'm usually in the gym or I'm pretty involved in our sports program, so you might have seen me at some events. But I wanted to make this video because, right now we're all staying at home and trying to stay healthy, and sometimes it's really hard to keep your workout routine up if you're used to, going to the gym or going to sports practices. So I wanted to just give you some simple workouts that you can do at home with not a lot of equipment and doesn't take a lot of time. So our first workout today is going to be an upper body workout. It's going to be circuit styled, some high intensity interval training. So you're going to work as hard as you can for a period of time, and then you're going to rest for a period of time, and I will walk you through all of it. Equipment wise, you might want to bring some water with you. So I have my water right here, just in case you need a break. It's really important to stay hydrated when you're exercising. And then I have some dumbbells here. These dumbbells are probably like 3 pounds. You can do this whole thing without resistance if you want. Or you can use like soup cans or water bottles. Something really cool with water bottles is, you can have a little bit of water in them, and then that's a certain resistance, and then the next time you do it, you can put more water in it, and that's even more resistance. So just simple household items will be perfect. Okay, so to start, we're going to warm up. So we're going to start off with arm circles. So we're going to go arm circles forward. Now we're going to go arm circles back. So we're going to do 10. Great. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to reach your arm behind your head, touch your opposite shoulder. And you're going to do that for 10 times. So there's 2. And if you don't have this range of motion, that's fine. Just, tailor this exercise to your range. So if you can get to like here, that's fine. Okay? So we're about halfway through. Great. So now we're going to do some chest openers. So we're going to open up, then give yourself a hug. And once again, your range of motion, what's comfortable, what's pain-free, what you're able to do. I believe that's 10. All right, and now we're just going to do some seated rotation, so you can just kind of do some twists. You don't have to go very far, very fast. Just kind of moving back and forth to loosen your back up a little bit. And if you want to, if you're like in a wheelchair or your chair has armrests, you can just grab on and rotate. All right, so circuit number 1, we are going to do 3 exercises. We're going to do a shoulder press, bicep curls, and punches. We're going to do all 3 of those for 30 seconds each, 30-second rest in between, and we're going to repeat it 4 times, so that's going to be 12 minutes of work in circuit number 1. So I'm getting my timer out. Going to set it for 30 seconds. Okay, so just going through this, a shoulder press is just punching up like this. Then we'll do bicep curls. And then we're actually just going to punch. Okay? And the 30-second work window is as hard as you possibly can while staying safe. All right? So we're going to start and go. So make sure you're up nice and tall. You're not arching your back or anything. And you're just going to punch up. Whatever you're using, make sure that when you look up, you can see it so it's not going behind your head or anything like that. All right, that was 30 seconds. So now we're going to rest for 30 seconds. And we're going to get into the next one. So the next one's going to be bicep curls. So what's important here is to make sure that your elbows stay in nice and tight to your sides. I don't want them out here or anything like that. So we have about 10 seconds to go. So also if you want to change resistance or change weights or switch out to like a heavier can, this is the time. All right, so we're gonna go again, doing bicep curls. All right, here we go. So try not to swing at all. I don't want to see like any of this. Your upper body is nice and still, and it's just elbows down, let's move in. All right, another break. Okay, so 30-second break, and then we're gonna go into punches. So we're gonna just kind of alternate. You're gonna punch straight out in front of you. I really like punching because it's a great stress reliever. All right, so we are gonna do punches in 3, 2, 1, go. So once again, this is as hard as you can. Just gonna go right hand, left hand. You know, if you don't have this range of motion, you just wanna go down here, that's completely fine. You don't have to punch up at shoulder height, especially if you have some shoulder pain. You can come down here. If you're starting to feel pain, you know, let the weights go or move slower. Completely fine. All right, great. So circuit number 1 is done for round 1. So now, moving on to round 2. So we're gonna do those 3 exercises again. And if you can hear me, I'm kind of breathing hard, so you know it's working. So if you want some water, grab it now. All right, and then we are about 5 seconds away. So we'll get ready to do shoulder presses now. All right, here we go. And if this is too much, you can always go one arm at a time. You can drop the weight if you need to. You can shorten your range of motion, especially if this is a little painful on your shoulders. Whatever you need to do, and now we'll rest. So a 30-second break there. You know, evaluate how you're feeling right now. If you are a little bit more out of breath, pause this video and take a break, and then jump back into it when you're ready. So about 15 seconds from the next one. So we'll do bicep curls again. And a reminder, keeping your elbows in, no swinging. Upper body is still throughout this whole thing. To make this more challenging, you can sit away from the back of the chair if you have some good sitting balance and want to challenge your core a little bit more. But here we go. So bicep curls for 30 seconds. And once again, if this gets a little challenging, you can always do, you know, one arm at a time. That's fine. You can decrease the range of motion if you need to. You can slow it down if you need to. You can drop the weight. It's whatever you need to do, but still make sure that you're challenging yourself. All right, 30 seconds. Wonderful. Okay, so 30-second break. And then we're going to do punches again. So once again, you know, you need to make sure that you're listening to your body. So if you're feeling some pain in your arms or your shoulders, decrease the range of motion, decrease the height of your punches, decrease the speed, whatever you need to do. So we are going to go again in 3 seconds and punches now. So we are punching. If you want to get a little bit of trunk rotation in here to challenge your core a little bit more, that's perfectly fine. If you want to do some ankle punches to get more twist, that works. Just make sure you have your core nice and tight. But once again, if you need to stay here, that's fine. All right, round round 2, finished. Okay, so I'm going to start round 3. If you need to use heavier weight or lighter weight or ditch the weight altogether, that's fine. Just pay attention to how you're feeling and what your body is telling you. All right. Got about 5 more seconds, and then we're going back into shoulder press. This time, I'm going to do one arm at a time to show you what that's about. All right, here we go. So, I'm just going to go right arm, then left arm. So it just kind of punches to the sky. If you have no weight and you want to challenge yourself and you don't have any items at home that you can use for resistance, you can go faster and see how many you can do in the 30 seconds. That's a way to challenge yourself. All right. So 30-second break. And we are going to go again. So again, we'll do bicep curls. I'll also do these one arm at a time just to show you a different way to do them. But just to remind you, keeping your elbows in and your upper body nice and still. That will help challenge your core. We have about 10 seconds, so if you need some water, get some now. All right, so we are getting ready to go now. So we'll do one arm, then the other. So sometimes going faster can challenge you endurance-wise, but also if you go slower, that can challenge your muscle strength in a different way. So it's just whatever you feel like challenges you the way that you need to be challenged is fine. So I'm going to speed it back up. All right, 30 seconds done. So now we are getting ready to do the punches again. I'm going to do some more rotational punches just to get some core work in. Once again, you can be against the backrest of your chair, or if you want to scoot out a little bit for more challenge, that's completely fine. It's just whatever you need to do and you are safest doing. All right, so we have about 5 seconds to go. So if you want to change your weight or sit your weights down, now is the time. And we are getting ready to go now. So here we go. So we're going to punch. So if you are doing some rotational punches, think about punching to the 2 corners of the room that you're in. Make sure you keep your abs in tight and you're breathing while you're working. It's so easy to hold our breath. Okay, we are done. So round 3, done. So we are starting our last round. So this is the last time you're going to do these exercises. So if if you're feeling really good and you feel like you could keep going for even more rounds, let's try to pick up the challenge yourself. So, use heavier resistance, move faster, things like that. Just different ways to challenge yourself so you get a great workout in. All right, so we are starting in 3, 2, 1. All right, shoulder presses up. So punch toward the sky. I'm going to go back to both arms here. If you really want to challenge your sitting balance and your core, you can lean back a little bit. That way your abs have to support you more. If that's too much, that's fine. Keep your back against the backrest or just sit up nice and straight. All right, great. 30 seconds. Done. All right, so 30 seconds rest. And then we're going to go back into bicep curls. So this time I think I'll do both arms together again, but I want to remind you because it's so important. Upper body stays nice and still. No rocking here because you're using momentum and not your muscles for it. And keep your elbows in nice and tight so you're focusing on your biceps. This time I am going to change my hand position a little bit though. So instead of palms up, I'm going to have palms facing in. So we're changing the muscles just a little bit. So 30 seconds, here we go. So these are called hammer curls. So they just work your muscles in a little bit different way. So you might actually be able to use heavier dumbbells if you have them, or heavier items around your house to do these. But once again, my chest and torso are still. They are not moving back and forth like this for resistance. Everything's nice and still, just my elbows moving. All right, 30 seconds. Okay, and then last one of this round are the punches. So I'm going to go back to punching straight forward. You know, punching is a really great way to get some stress out, especially if you're feeling stressful with all these things going on. I know that I am, so really focusing on a target right in front of you and punching as hard as you can for the next 30 seconds. If you really want to focus on punching as hard as you can ditch the weight. And we are getting started in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So we're punching. So you have your eyes on the target. Once again, if you need to decrease your range of motion a little bit, that's completely fine. If you need to lower your punches, no problem. Just challenge yourself however you need to. All right, great. Okay. So now we are going to move on to circuit number 2. So these ones, I'm going to give us about a minute break here, so I'm going to let my alarm go off one more time before we start. So move number 1 are lateral raises. So you are just lifting out to the side to shoulder height. Don't want you to go any higher than that, especially if you have weight. And then move number 2 will be front raises. So it's really important here to remember to not swing. You are just going to lift up and back down. Just like that. And then last one is triceps extension. So I'm actually going to turn a little bit so you can see me, but I'm going to lean forward just a little bit and press back like this. So from my shoulder to my elbow is nice and still. And then just my hand is moving. Okay. So we are going to start with lateral raises now. Out to the side, just to shoulder height, and back down. These ones, if you have weights, I just really want you to stay in control. Don't lock your elbows out. And you know your body, so it's whatever you need to do. You know, if you have one arm that's stronger than the other, you can always do one arm at a time and focus on challenging that specific arm. All right, that was 30 seconds. So we will take a break here, and then we're going to transition to the front raises. So once again, upper body stays nice and still. And just your shoulders are moving. Slight bend in your elbow when you're doing these. And we have about 10 seconds. And you might not be using the same resistance for each move, and that's completely fine. All right, so here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. So straight out to the front. So once again, you're stopping at shoulder height. I don't want you to go any higher than that, especially if you have some pretty challenging weights in your hand. This is where we need to be. And then once again, my upper body's not moving. I'm not swinging my arms, doing anything like this for momentum. Just nice and controlled. Okay, 30 seconds. So then the last one in this round is the triceps extension. I'm going to show you, I showed you the first way of being like this and kind of just pressing backward. You can also have your hands overhead and go straight up. It's whatever feels better for you. Also, if you're in a chair with armrests, you can do some press-ups too. That's another way to work your triceps. All right, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to do this one first. So I'm just leaning slightly forward. You know, if you need to do one arm one round and then the next round you do the other arm, that's fine. We're doing it 4 times, so you're gonna get work on both sides evenly. My elbows are staying nice and tucked in. And I am feeling that in the back of my arm. All right, 30 seconds. So round 1 is done. So we will take a little break there. If you need some water, perfectly fine. Now's the time. Okay, back to lateral raise, 30 seconds. So you can also just do one arm at a time if you need to. Slight bend in your elbows though. I don't want you to lock your elbows out. So it's just like you're flying away. If you have done any of our pool classes, this is a very familiar exercise to you. Feels a little bit different on land though. All right, and we'll take a break for 30 seconds. Okay, so then going back to the front raise, we're still taking a break. I'm just gonna demonstrate up to the front and back down. If you need to, you can do one arm at a time. Once again, you can stick to one arm for 30 seconds and then switch if you want to. Whatever challenges you the most is what we're working on right now. So we have about 3 seconds, so we're gonna get ready to go. And here we go. So straight out to the front. So once again, my upper body, my chest and my torso staying still. It's really easy to kind of get some rocks in. So if you're feeling that, you can put your back against the backrest of your chair if you have one, or just work on one arm at a time. Or drop the weight altogether because your body kind of goes into using momentum when something's too heavy. All right, 30 seconds. Okay, so then I am going to switch up how I did the tricep extension to show you just another way to do it. So this time I'm going to go over my head. It's really important here to have really good posture. And I'm going to keep my arm up like this. Just let the weight come back. And then I'm going to lift it back up. But I'll do both arms at the same time. Once again, however you want to do it. If you want to do a press up in the chair, that's fine. All right, here we go. So triceps now. So when you're doing it like this, it's really easy for your elbows to kind of flare out like that. Keep them in nice and tight, kind of like you're squeezing your head. If this is hard on your shoulders, I want you to go back to the other way of doing it, like that. Just depends on your range of motion and your abilities right now. All right, 30 seconds. Great, round 2 is done. So we're halfway through this one. Okay, so then we'll go back to lateral raises. Once again, you can do both arms at the same time or just one arm for 30 seconds, and then for round 4, you can do the other arm. Okie dokie, so we are getting ready to go in about 3 seconds, so we'll get ready. And here we go. So, out to the side. Once again, I only want you stopping at shoulder height, okay? Nothing like this. If you're starting to feel anything in your lower back, I would just rest your back against the backrest of the chair. Make sure your abs are drawn in nice and tight, so that's kind of pulling your belly button in towards your spine. Okay, 30 seconds. Very good. All right. So now we'll take a break. If you need some water, grab it. And we're going to go back to the front raise. So you're going to think thumbs up and just going out to the front. Alrighty, so we have about 3 seconds, so we're going to get ready to go. Grab your weights if you're using them. And here we go. So straight out to the front. Once again, no swinging your arms like this. You're just using momentum. So upper body's nice and still. Just your arms are moving. All right, 30 seconds. Good job. So we'll take another break. Once again, if you feel like maybe you're a little more out of breath, you can push the pause button. It's fine. I will be here when you get back. But now we're going into triceps extension. So I'm going to go back to the first way I was doing it, when I'm kind of leaning forward a little bit. And another way you could do this is just like lean forward with one arm and then go back. That way you're supported when you're leaning forward. All right, here we go. Just trying to find ways to make this work for you. There are always ways that we can adapt things. If you have any questions on maybe how to adapt something or suggestions of types of exercises you want to see, just comment them and we will do our best. It's a little crazy times right now, but we are all working through it and we're going to get through it together. So this is another one where you shouldn't be swinging. Just have control of the weights. Okay, 30 seconds. All right, guys, we have one more round. You should be feeling like your muscles have worked a little bit. I have. Okay, so we're going back to side raises. So if you need to change your weights, make things harder, this is our last round. It's our last chance to push. So we have about 5 seconds to go. And here we go, guys. So out to the side. All right, great job. 30 seconds down. We just have 2 exercises to go. So we'll go back to the front raise. If you want, like I've said before, you can do one arm at a time. You can hold the chair if you're having some balance trouble. One arm at a time is fine. Make sure your core is drawn in as much as you can. That will also challenge you. Sometimes doing one arm at a time is even harder because your core has to work a little bit more. So whatever you feel like gives you the best challenge. And we're going now. So front raise. No swinging. Just up and control down. The weights get too heavy, you can just sit them down and keep going. Just don't stop moving for this 30 seconds. All right. So one more break, and then we're going to triceps extension. So I'm going to go back to overhead for you guys. Once again, you can do 15 seconds of one side, 15 seconds of the other. It is completely up to you. We have about 10 seconds left, so if you need some water, need to change your weights, anything like that, now is the time. All right, we are starting. Last exercise. Give it everything you got. Here we go. So we're going back and up overhead, making sure those elbows stay in nice and tight, regardless of what you're doing. If you're doing a press up in your chair, you're pushing up from the armrest, elbows staying tight. You're leaning forward and kicking back, elbows staying tight. That principle remains the same no matter which way you're doing it. All right, done. So I hope that you feel like you got a pretty good workout in this. The next thing we're going to do is just stretch it out. So it's always nice after a workout to, let your heart rate come back down naturally, but also stretch your muscles out because you worked them. So we're going to start with just a cross-body stretch. So you'll pull your arm across your chest and then just kind of pull. So you can grab right behind your elbow. I like to do one of these and just pull. You should feel a stretch all through here. If you want to take some more time to stretch, that's fine. You can push pause, or you can stretch after this video is done. Doesn't matter to me, but now we're going to switch in 3, 2, 1. And then same thing on the other side. So you guys should feel pretty good, pretty worked out. I started to sweat a little bit. I don't know about you. But a pretty good workout, and it was pretty fast. So you can fit it in your day. All right, now we're going to do a tricep stretch. So with this, if you can get your arm up here, you're just going to pull. You should feel it back through here, and you might even feel it here through your lats, especially from the punches. And then the other way. And if you don't have very good range of motion, just kind of helping your arm up a little bit and letting your elbow bend is fine. Whatever works for you. All right, so now we're going to do a bicep stretch because we worked those today too. You're going to straighten your arm out as much as you can and then just kind of give this arm a pull, or your fingers a pull. You might feel a pull throughout here too. Not a problem. So I like to stretch like that, and I also sometimes like to pull up just to kind of get the forearm muscles a little bit. And then we'll switch to the other side. Just kind of stretching out my wrist. All right, there you have it, guys. That was a pretty quick and efficient upper body workout.